Welcome, my name is Omolade Adeyemi. I remain your fashion teacher, the CEO of Lariche Design. Today's training is going to be how to cut and sew the straight long skirt I'm putting on. So this is the front part, this is the back view of the straight long skirt. As you can see, this is the bum part, which is the bum contouring. So I'm going to teach you the step-by-step of how you're going to achieve this. The first thing you're going to do, take your measurement. You're going to learn how to drop the pattern, cut out the pattern, cut the pattern on your fabric, then sew it on your machine. Cut out the lining, before sewing it. And our trainings are scheduled for Monday and Tuesday, which our flashback is going to fall on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Friday. While Saturday and Sunday is going to be a live chat conversation. If you're new to this channel, you need to subscribe to this channel, like this channel, and very important, you need to ask your question. We would like you to drop your observation, ask your questions, extend your love to us by liking and sharing this video. Hello, my name is Omolade Adeyemi. Welcome back to our training section. Today, what we are going to do is how to cut our straight long skirts. I want to teach how you cut the straight long skirt. We drafted the pattern. So what we want to do is to cut our pattern out on fabric. So I'll be using my Ankara fabric. This is the Ankara fabric I'm going to use. This is the Ankara I'm going to use. And what I'll be needing is, I'll be needing my ruler. I'll need my fabric scissors. I'll be needing my chalk and some pins to hold the fabric and the paper down. So let's get started. So we all know the first thing we are going to do is to chop off this paper on the Ankara. Of course, we know we are not going to fold it like this, so we need to chop this off. This should be the normal way we fold on fabric and cut. But in a situation when you find yourself, when you find out that you're so tall and you need to make some things for yourself, you need to cut the other way around. So we are not going to cut this way, we are going to cut the other way. So you mind the kind of fabric you buy for yourself. I mean the kind of Ankara print you get for yourself, because you need to get a print that the pattern the pattern go around, that you don't have a particular pattern staying on one side, that you need to follow that pattern. So you need to, this Ankara is okay for me because this kind of flower goes round the fabric. We are not having it on a particular spot scattered like that, but we have it all around the fabric, so I can easily turn. So the way I'm going to cut this part, my skirt now, is the other way, like this. I'm going to fold my fabric this other way. So I'm going to cut it this way. So I'm going to fold it this way on my table, like this. It's not a must you use Ankara. You can get some other fabric. You can get like lace. You can get any material like crepe. You can get scuba. You can get anything. It depends on it depends on what you want to achieve, what you want to arrive at. But at least you start with a material that you can control, that you have control over. Because if you decide to get a bodycon material for skirt, and you know some of our bodycons are stretchy, and you don't know how to control it, because at the end of the day, after cutting, you realize what you cut will be wider or longer than what you arrive at the end of the day. So you need to get the material for the starters, you need to get the materials that you have control on. So by the time you start sewing and you are good at what you're doing, so you can start getting stretchy materials that you know, of course, I can handle this. Let me fold it. I don't want to waste my fabric, so I want to adjust it. So I'm trying to adjust. Trying to adjust it. So after that, I'm going to place my fabric on it. My pattern. I'm going to start with the front. With the front pattern, I'm putting aside the back. So as it is, this is my pattern. I still need to adjust the fabric because I don't want to waste fabric. I don't like wasting my fabric. So sorry about that. Let me adjust it a bit. So I think this is fine. So I'm going to place my fabric on it. So you look at the way I placed my pattern. I did not place it like this. You know, this, we all know this is going to fall. This is our hip side. So we are not going to place our fabric like this. If you place your pattern this way, it means, and you cut this way, it means you want the front skirt. You want an opening at the center of your skirt. So it means you want this part to open, or you want that part to have a joining. So because I don't want it to have a joining, I want a straight long skirt that will just have a slit at the back. So this is how I place it. This is how I'm going to place it. You won't move it to the, you at least leave some inches at the top so that it will be enough for your allowance. So you make sure the paper and the pattern, the fabric and the pattern are facing, as in they are lying. So the next thing is you pin it down. You pin it down accordingly. You make sure the paper and the pattern and the fabric is equal. After pinning my pattern down to my fabric, so the next thing is I'm going to add some allowances. So I'm going to add the allowance. This upper part, I'm going to use 1/2 inch for the upper part. The side I'm going to use 1 inch, and the down part I'm going to use 1 inch. You can use more than 1 inch for the side in case you get fatter and you need to loosen it out and you still feel you don't want to throw away your material. So you just need to add some allowance, more than 1 inch. But if you feel, oh, by the time the fabric, the style is no more sizing you, you can still dash it out. So don't use more than 1 inch allowance. So let's get started with the allowances. So for the upper part, I'm going to use 1/2 inch because it's a bandless skirt. So I'm going to use 1/2 inch. Hold on, please hold on. In case you don't know, we have an online fashion institute. We are going to teach you full pattern drafting training. We are going to take you from the scratch, how to use your machine to the climax. You're going to be the best designers in town. For more information, visit our website on www.larichedesigns.com. So in this part, I'm going to add 1 inch to it. I want to explain something at this point. If we won't see, this is the knee line part. As it is, if I add my 1 inch, if I try to add my 1 inch allowance down to this part, to my skirt length, to the base of my skirt, it will be so snatched on my body. But if you want it to be free a little at that part, at the knee part, so that you will be able to walk freely, you'll be able to walk comfortably. Not that if you make it snatch, if you're not freeing it, you won't be able to walk. Of course you walk. But there are some steps you need to take that you need to hurry up. So we need to have some allowance. It is called some freeness. You had some free hands, some freeness to this part. So is either you add half inch to this part, this is the knee part I mean. Is either you add half inch or you add quarter. That's 0.25 to it. So it depends on what you want. So if you want it to be so free, like if you want it to be a little free, it's not that it's going to be so free. If you want it to be free on you at that knee part, down to the length of your skirt, you can add half inch to your skirt. You can add half inch to your skirt. After adding half inch, that is if it's half inch you want to use, after adding it. But I'm not going to add, for me, I'm not going to make use of half. I'm not going to add up to half. I'm going to use 0.4, like the line before half inch. So the next thing I'm going to do is to blend it to this point. It's not going to get to the knee point, to the hip point. It's just to shape it to this point. To shape it to this point. So after that, I'm going to take the same thing. It means I'm going to take the same thing down to my length, or better still, you add, after adding one, we are going to add one. Let me continue with my measurement. Let me add 1 inch. Let me continue with the 1 inch. After adding 1 inch, after you free this part, then you continue with your 1 inch. Continue with your 1 inch to this point. Then you try and calculate what it gives you. 1 inch plus that 0.4 I added. So it gives me like 1.4. So it's not up to 1.5. So that is what I'm going to take down to the length of my skirt. I hope you understand that. I'm going to measure this. After adding my 1 inch allowance, I'm going to add it to the 0.4. To the 0.4 I added to the as the freeness. I'm going to add it to that 1 inch. So it will give me 1.4 inches. So which means my allowance from the knee part down is going to be almost 1.5. So like it's 1.4. So that's what I'm going to take down to the length of my skirt. But that's still, I want to do something. I want to take this line down. So I've done that, then I'll continue with my 1 inch allowance. And so for the down part, I'm going to add 1 inch also. So let me use my ruler to do that, to group this part out. Let me join the lines together so it will be clear to you and high. By the time I start cutting, so you see where I'm supposed to cut. So I hope we've seen it. So the next thing is I'm going to cut. As in, I'm going to cut my fabric out. So let's cut. So that's all about the front straight skirt pattern. After cutting the front, the next thing is to place the back pattern on our Ankara. So, and sorry for sitting down, I need to sit down so as to maintain my back strength. To maintain the back strength. So in case I want to do something else at night, I will be able to do it. Sorry, I just added that. The main reason I need sitting down is because the table I'm using to cut is my office table, not my main cutting table. The cutting table is a little bit high, so and this is low, so make me not to be convenient. I'm not really convenient while cutting, so I have to sit down. Sorry about that. So the next thing, we'll continue with the back. I've placed my back pattern on my Ankara fabric. So the next thing, I need to pin it down. So like I said, for the front, we need to leave like an inch allowance at the upper part, at the band part. So now let's pin it down. Like the front, when I wanted to cut the front, I make this edge I make the edge of my pattern align with the Ankara here. That is for the front. For the back, we are going to put, for the back, we are going to fix in zip for the back. So I need to add my zip allowance for the back. That was why I'm moving it. That was why I move it to the middle, so that we'll have allowance for the zip. So, and the allowance for the zip part is no more than 1 inch. So don't mind my essence because I have a lot of Ankara, so I'm trying to use it the way I say it. So let's continue pinning it down. So you need to make sure your paper is not folding. You need to make sure it's very laid, like flat, the same way the fabric is. It has to be very laid, like flat on the fabric, not folding on the fabric. So that was why you see me trying to make it go down, trying to make it be the same flatness with the Ankara. So that at the end of the day, we won't be getting a funny outcome. So pattern drafter always makes use of pin, so you need to get enough pin. You can try and get the bigger pin for yourself at home. In your office, get the bigger pin, you can get the bigger one. So if this one is really disturbing, because this can be frustrating at times. So let me move it up a bit. So after that, we need to add our allowance. So our sewing allowance, like I did for the upper parts, we are going to use ½ inch for the upper part, 1 inch for the side, and 1 inch for the zip allowance part. So watch carefully the way I add my allowance. So my ½ inch for the upper part. So I need to join the lines together. 1 inch allowance. And when we get to the neckline, like I did for the front, I'm going to add 0.4 inches the way I did for the front for my freeness, for free hands, so that my working will not be difficult for me. So not that if you did not have it, it will be difficult for you, but it depends on how, you know, how snatchy you want the skirt to be on your body. So I'm adding like 0.4 inches to my fabric, so for free, and so I blend it this way. Look at the way I blend it. I'm going to take this line down to the length of my skirt, or better still, you take your measurements, but I feel I can go straight. So then I'll continue with my 1 inch. So the next thing I'm going to do is to add my allowance to the zip side. That is the zip allowance, so which is also 1 inch. So look at the way I add my 1 inch to the zip side. Let me try and pin this part down. I'm adding my 1 inch this way. Let me assume this is going up. So I'm adding my 1 inch this way. So I'm adding it the way the shape is. So I'm following the shape of my pattern. Of course, the back pattern is not that straight. It's not straight. It's a little curvy because of the bum part. So we need to follow that shape. So when you get here, you try and measure the 1 inch from here out, like this. So then you continue, not that you're going to continue like this, another 1 inch, no. You continue your 1 inch from where that ends. You know, we measure 1 inch from this point out. So you continue another 1 inch from that point out. So wherever the 1 inch gets to is what you're going to continue using. So from here out. So for you to get that straight line, then you bring this one out. You mark this line out like this. You extend the paper out. So what you now measure what you have from this paper to where your 1 inch gets to. Here is giving me ½ inch. From the paper out is giving me ½ inch. So I'm going to measure that ½ inch down to the length of my skirt. I hope you understand that. So you measure ½ inch down. So I'm going to use my ruler to join the lines together. So after that, the last thing we're going to do for the down part is to add 1 inch, the same way we did for the front. So we're going to add 1 inch like this. So following the shape also. So let me use my ruler to join the lines together. So after that, we can cut. So the next thing is to cut our fabric. So now See the way we cut. So look at the way I'm cutting this part. Need to be careful of this part. So when I go straight down, so that's the end of our straight long skirt pattern cutting on Ankara. So let me hold the front also so that you see the two pieces. So thanks for watching this video, and most importantly, there is going to be giveaways at every point of our achievement. Please be part of this and take advantage of this by watching and be part of those that will be benefiting from this. So most importantly, I would like you to please subscribe to this channel, keep subscribing, and make sure you like this video. Drop your comments, ask your questions. Thank you for watching. Bye.